Hi everyone. Sorry it took so long to get a video out. I had a lot of work to do, let alone on the car. I had work to do on the car. And a well that decided to quit. Anyway, everything's working now. I am making the oil pump drive off the camshaft. I take that out so I can punch it through. Only need a half piece, a couple of half moons, and then a full disc. And then when I put that on there, I realized after I looked at it, it's the wrong direction, dummy. It's supposed to be round out. There we go. How do you look at a picture and reverse it is beyond me. Anyway, at least I caught it. I'm using tube glue because it sets quickly and I can smooth it over with others. That's the beginning of it, the little round housing at the end. I have no idea what I'm doing now. It's off camera. Oh, I'm making the shaft. And I gotta make the piece that hooks up on the case split line, but I'm making this one smaller because it's actually got a smaller, you'll see. I'll shut up there. That'd make you happy, wouldn't it? That brass rod there is to make the shaft going down, because it's driven off the cam, but going down to the actual pump. And that brass is also the pickup tube from the, I think it is. Maybe that's supplying the suction. I don't know. I've never seen it tore apart. So I have no idea. There we go. Finally got the right thing on there. All right. See the little ears on that? That's where bolts are. And they're on. You'll see. I gotta make it really thin. There we go. I'm getting about the length of the shaft I need, a guesstimation naturally. Now I got to make the housing for the bottom, pull that off again, punch it through. I did two of them because I knew, knowing me, it's not going to be right. I got to drill a hole, center punching it with that, and you're going to drill a hole. So that's where I believe the impeller's at, but I could be absolutely wrong. It could be up the top. You'd think you'd want it pushing the well, not drawing it. But hey, this is a car made in 1900s, late 1900s. And it used to be splash oil, like your old Briggs & Stratton engines for lawnmowers. Splash lubricated. I got to make that little place there. There's a little bit of case that sticks out. And that's what I'm doing here, is cutting it. I don't remember if I had to make two of these or not. I don't think I did, but I don't remember. Hey, when you're eyeballing it, something's going to happen wrong. Since I don't have a drawing of it, I'm going off photograph, which helps, but no front view, no top view, just a side view. And maybe I want to say a 3/4 view, but not really. But in other words, an angled view. So that's going to be glued on there. I think I realized that's a bit long, Doug. Now I'm doing the the bolts around the top of the drive. You know, maybe it's sucking the oil out of the camshaft in that, because there's no, these motors were used, this type of motor was used, except for they had overhead cams on most of them. Both sides of the bore are, there's several things you didn't know. One is that, or they didn't have it figured out yet. One is they had to oil the valve train before they ran. Now, on the aircraft, they had a little bit of oil that would splash out, and that's why they had a hole in the windscreen so they could aim the gun, because it'd get all over their goggles and that way they could keep it clean. That's why they wore a scarf, I'm told. I don't know if that's true, but who am I to know? Anyway, so the valve train was basically dry, and it can run 45 minutes without lubrication once it's lubricated. That's what I read. So there you go. The other one is, which I'll show later. Right now I'm drilling a hole through the case for the crank, the actual shaft to hit the flywheel. And I realized, oh, I thought I was going to have to do something better than that. I made it long because I figured it's going to be sunk into the tranny anyway. Man, aluminum's nice to work with. Tell you have to weld it or solder it. You can't solder it, I know, maybe with silver solder. Now I'm going to push. I was like, tight fit. I went, oh man, that's awful short. And I realized it ain't down to the bottom. I moved it. So anyway, I am brushing stuff off and hitting it with some glue to smooth things over. Some liquid glue. Because the next job is going to be painting it. Well, the whole thing. That way we can put the motor together. You moron. It ain't glue. It's that freaking Vallejo aluminum. I'm putting a base coat on this. Jeez. I was sitting there going, man, that's some awful wet looking glue, but it's drying quick. I'm so used to Tester's bottle glue, which I do have, which takes like 5 months to dry. You'll leave a fingerprint on it. And so I'm just putting this on there, and I got other colors of metallic grays, like steel in that, and I actually found out I kind of like the looks of that better with a aluminum highlights. But it's so thin, it's not even funny. The steel covered good, but I'm still messing. I'm putting darker shadow lines in it. I'm still goofing with it. Here I'm cleaning the brush. You can see. Well, that was quick. I can't see which one I'm using right now. Oh, it's probably the brass, gold and brass, to make the brass for the body of the pump and the pickup. So I'm hitting what's brass on the pump body. I'll let that dry, and I'll hit it with some gold for highlights, like on the tops I still got to go through and paint all the bolts are black on this, so they're steel. I didn't think you'd want steel with aluminum, but maybe they didn't know about galvanic problems with it at that time. I have no idea. I know that they had trouble with steel tubing in World War One, so they quit using it. They had to go to copper because it would split under vibration, and so that's why you're seeing copper intakes, and that is because the a lot of copper or brass fittings on them. Steel would do it, but not tubing that is welded with a seamless. And that this is probably, no, I'm doing gold. Oh yeah, there was a little part in front on the brass or on the aluminum that had a brass nub on it, and I'm like, what? And I still got to put a brass nut on the trying to think of it, where the gears are for the camshaft and the drives for the magnetos, and I figured that's where they dump the oil in to it there. So I don't know if it was separate. I have no idea. I think it'd come with the engine, but there is a brass nut there. It's pretty big. And they had this huge copper pipe going from the crankcase along the side in vents. That's the crankcase vent up towards the front. You'll see that. It's going to be done here soon. Now I'm sticking the pump bottom on because it needs to be painted. Since the pipe is brass already, I don't really have to worry about that. The tube going down. So there's going to be a diagram coming up here shortly. Well, in my idea, shortly. And I keep forgetting this is Vallejo, so it dries very quick. Vallejo in Army colors, and they both mix well together, and they're all acrylic. Now I'm going in and cleaning areas with a wet brush to spread out, because I added some dark gray. I didn't do a wash on this engine, only on the cylinder heads. I didn't want it to appear to be, I know it probably drooled oil, but for that day it was probably great oil, you know. So I have no idea. My dog's barking, both of them, and I think they want in, but it's like 65 degrees out. They ain't gonna freeze to death. Let them stay out there and let the stink get blown off them. Oh, I'm drilling it for the shaft for the fan. And I was going to use this brass rod, and I couldn't. Every time I turned around, I knocked it off. The hole wasn't quite big enough, and drilling in the center of a nub is tedious at best. And I end up going to a steel rod that I had, which fit the hole better. Because I got to do the pulleys, the adjusting gear, and some other stuff. So I thought I better get it going. So I'm having trouble with it staying. Waiting for me to Not sure if I grabbed that rod yet. I think it did it off camera. I'm not sure. We'll find out together. Yeah, that's still the brass one. A little crooked, Doug. Now the stupid thing. I bullseyed the holes for the lifters. There's some sort of shroud, I think it's to keep oil in so it ain't spraying out. That's why I'm calling them shrouds, because there's no oil going up through the lifters or up through the up to the rocker arms from the lifters and the push rods. There is nothing going up there. So they got to oil it good. I don't know what they mixed it with. I have no idea if it was oil and grease. I have no idea what they used or what they're using today running these machines. You know, since you only got 45 minutes of drive time, I don't know if they put in I haven't seen it, so I was wondering if they put in an oil jobber. If you guys ever heard of that. I don't know. What it does is it drips oil, like so many drops every, one a minute or two a minute. You can set it for just to keep it lubricated. I haven't seen one on this thing, so even with the one that's being driven, I haven't seen it on. I have no idea. So I drilled these holes out, and the holes are the right size. Trying to get them in that hole without it going clear through the case. I got one inside the case, so it's probably ruined the crankshaft. Anyway, what I'm doing is cleaning the burr off the inside so I can grip it, because it is hollow. You can see it in the drawings or on the photos. No drawing. And the front one broke out. You see that big hole? Well, I covered it up. I got to look at it better, make sure it's covered and it looks good. But yeah, I was not happy about that. I don't know why it snapped there. It must have been how I assembled the top part, because that was a solid piece going across and then blended, and I think it just hit right and it snapped out when I was drilling it. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of pressure on this girl, because I didn't want to drill any more in it. And then I realized one of mine lifter shrouds went AWOL on me. So I thought I better get that done. I also got to hit the height a little on them too, to get them all the same height. The front two are a little tall. Okay, there's the pump body. Stick it on it. Now there should be a copper pipe coming out of the bottom, going to the bottom of the oil pan. It comes out the side of it on the bottom, and I don't know if I'm going to add that. I might just put one off the side. I don't think you're going to see it sitting in the frame, because you only see it, because there's a lot of junk goes right there. So, because the bottom is like a modern race car where the bottom is covered. Well, the bottom of this thing's covered too. As you can see in any photos or anything of it. See, sorry, that went a little quick. There she is, what she looks like right now, and I got to do a lot of work yet. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like. It helps with YouTube.